Welcome back to this week's Game News Show. I hope you've had a fantastic week. In the last 7 days of game news, we've had quite a few things come up. One major thing to talk about with Nintendo, and a bunch of little stories sprinkled in for fun. So let's get started with our Battle Royale news. Apex Legends Resurrection had, this is the next season of Apex. The trailer came out today. It's Kill Code Part 2. If you keep up with Apex lore and their videos, they're usually well animated, but these last couple have been really good. I won't play them here. They're a little graphic for what I'd go for and show on my channel, but the animation is pretty spot on. I'm just like appreciative that the Apex story has stayed pretty consistent and interesting. And this season is going to be all about Revenant being like reborn as even more evil. It's crazy, so it looks really good. I'm pretty pumped for that. Let's go to the next story. Battle Royale. Fortnite tweeted, to break the curse, use the curse. And we'll just play the little trailer here. I'll make it bigger for you. There you go. I thought this was cool. I like the anime skins. And now we have Jujutsu Kaisen. I don't know if I said that right. I've never watched the show. I'm only aware of the memes between, I guess his name Gojo and Kakashi from Naruto being the same character. Anyway, that's cool. It's nice to see another anime collab. Really neat. All right, moving on. We have Final Fantasy XIV is finally, after actual years of people begging, finally coming to Xbox next year, spring 2024, with the new DLC, I guess. There's a beta during patch 6.5 X, and then the official release will be in spring 24. Apparently, this game is free up to like level 70, so you can experience like most of the game, just not like the new DLC stuff. I am just really excited because they also said, and I don't have it pulled up here, so I'll just leave this pretty graphic pulled up. But they also said that Square and Xbox are going to be working more closely together to get Square Enix games on Xbox, which has Final Fantasy fans excited because, I mean, everything's just been PlayStation lately, and that's lame because, you know, us Xbox people want to play too. But I'm pumped for this. I don't know if that means eventually Final Fantasy VII Remake or not. We'll see. But I also hope this means Final Fantasy games coming back to Game Pass, because it was awesome. And it was also nice to have Kingdom Hearts on Game Pass, because I could just jump in and play, but I didn't have to like spend any extra money on it. I've already played those games so many times. Anyway, very exciting news. Very awesome to see Phil Spencer, who is credited as the reason by the CEO of Square Enix. Phil Spencer is the reason that this deal happened, and it's just awesome. It's good to see Japanese studios working with Xbox so closely, because if you guys have been around Xbox as long as I have, about the only thing we've had consistently is Sega, and even then, sometimes the quality of those games wasn't up to par. Looking at you, Sonic 06. So yeah, let's move on. Some Star Wars news. Saw this from Spawnwave. It says EA says Star Wars Jedi Survivor is getting ported to last-gen systems. And with the joke, the Xbox One VCR lives. I like this. I just think it makes the game more accessible. Here we have the Verge article on it. I don't think it offers any more details except that the game is coming. What I will say with this, though, is that it's going to probably look terrible. I don't know for sure, but it will probably look on par with the previous game, Fallen Order, but maybe worse in some instances, given how this game's performance ended up being. Very interesting. I could see it coming to the PS4 more easily than the OG Xbox One VCR, just because of the architecture of the original Xbox One. But it's very weird, and it's cool. Like I said, it's cool as getting accessible. I can't wait to see how it looks and performs. 30 FPS locked, maybe. I think the Xbox One version will have the worst performance of any of them. Let's move on. This game performs terrible on PS5 now. You play the PS4 version on there and get the fall. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, the way this game launched, I just don't think it's. I just don't know. Maybe they have some tricks up their sleeves. All right, let's move on. Anybody use Apple Arcade? I'm gonna start giving it more attention because it's Game Pass on iOS. All right, let's just put it that way. Tons of decent games, no microtransactions. And Sonic Dash Plus is got Lego Sonic coming, and I think that's cool. Lego Sonic, Amy and Tails are coming, and I just thought it was pretty neat. I like Sonic Dash. It's been around a while. My kid loves playing it. I don't play it as much as I used to, but playing it through Apple Arcade is a lot more fun because it's just playing the game and not having to like be bombarded with reminders to go buy stuff. And I always appreciate that. Plus, the attention Lego Sonic is getting lately is pretty cool. All right, let's move to the next thing. And I thought this one here is pretty awesome. I had it pulled up. Let's rearrange some tabs here. Okay, Microsoft is now selling replacement parts for the Elite Series 2 controllers and their base controllers. And this is huge because I've got a Xbox Series S controller. It's a white Series SX controller. Very similar to this one, but not that one. That the left bumper, I think, busted. And so I'm looking up, cheapo parts on Amazon. But now you can buy official parts. And it's just a kit, $20. You get the bumpers, triggers, D-pad, joystick caps, and all the face buttons. And so what I think I'm going to do is for this white controller, I'm going to order the blacked out buttons and maybe a black faceplate. No, I'll leave it white. But I'll do like a domino kind of effect, a black on white deal. It'll look really cool when I'm done. But I appreciate that it's not ridiculously expensive to get replacement parts. And I mean, they've even got like the PCBs for the controller itself. So like this one has the charging port on it. You can get the one with the joysticks on it. So if you've got stick drift on your Elite 2, you can replace the whole internal. It's like $30, $40, I think. And here it is. It's 60, excuse me. But now you can like fix it and you don't have to be stuck with a busted thing or have to like desolder and resolder the analog stick assemblies. Just replace the whole thing. It's amazing. I think that's really awesome. It's a good move on Microsoft's part. Right to repair is super important. And this is just another good move. I just super appreciate this. I'm hoping they add maybe other colors or at least maybe like if you did Design Lab, you could order like specific parts. Like you had to have ordered one. I don't know how they do it, but I would hope that would be the case. Super cool on Microsoft. All right, moving on. Assassin's Creed Mirage coming out this year. I think October. Completed in 20 to 30 hours, according to the early playtesters. You can get 40 hours if you go like the full 100% completion, maybe. I think, that's awesome because I don't want to play at 80 to 100 hours of a game that should have a complete story in shorter time. Also, with single player games, I want to be able to experience the story, explore the world, but not be doing like menial, boring little tasks. So hopefully they've got this, it's being a call to the classic Assassin's Creed games. The side quests aren't too samey, but still interesting. I think in Assassin's Creed 3 and 4, some of the quests had you like hunting different targets in different ways. And it's like, yeah, it's the same quest, but the areas were a little different every time. So I hope this gives us kind of the same thing. So good on Ubisoft for just making a solid game. I hope this game's going to sell really well. I think a lot of people will come back to playing Assassin's Creed just from this one. But yeah, super pumped for this. All right, let's get into our biggest story. We'll spend a little bit of time on this. Sources: Nintendo targets 2024 next-gen console. We kind of expected that, but there's more. Development kits for Nintendo's next console are now with key partner studios, with launch planned for next year. sources have told VGC. This is Video Games Chronicle. VGC, very popular site for game news, and we'll look at this article maybe a little closer. But basically, no, we're not going to look at it closer. I'm just going to give you the high level. 2 sources spoke. It says it will have an LCD screen instead of OLED. That'll keep the cost low. They'll do an OLED version later when the other internals can be cheaper. It looks like there's a lot of speculation on stuff. The biggest takeaway is that backwards compatibility is up in the air, and I really hope this isn't the case. This thing needs to be backwards compatible with the previous Switch library. Namely because this was the Switch was the launch of the eShop where stuff carries forward, tied to your account. And it's supposed to, keep going. That's like the graphic they showed us. That's kind of the sell for using the eShop and buying things digitally. If it's locked to the Switch, we just have a Wii U situation, except worse because physical games are waning in popularity, waning in sales. Every generation it has gotten smaller and smaller. The number of physical sales is shrinking. The number of digital sales has been increasing. I'm concerned about this for a number of reasons, but with the Switch specifically, they have to carry that library forward. It's just not gonna be a good look. You've got primarily parents of kids buying Nintendo Switches. If I was an unknown, if I didn't know what was going on, didn't know how to manage it, didn't know what to expect, and I bought a Switch 2 and it wasn't backwards compatible with my Switch 1 for my kids or all the money I spent on those games, I would be upsetty spaghetti. Me as a gamer and a parent and a person that knows these things, I would still be upsetty spaghetti because there's just no reason for it not to be unless they had a total change in architecture, in which case just figure out emulation, Nintendo. Like, it's not hard. Everything can emulate the Switch, it seems. So, even so, I think there's just zero excuse for this next Switch to not play the previous Switch's games. Zero excuse. If it doesn't happen, it's purely a monetary decision, and that's going to be a terrible look. The Switch 2 will still sell. It'll just have a slower start. I just think that's going to be the fact. It will have a slower start. People will hang on to those original Switches, and there will be no reason to upgrade for a couple of years until the OLED or whatever version would come out. But yes, Kirk, I agree. If it's not, it won't outsell the current Switch. Not at first. It would take a couple of years. I could be completely wrong, but I just think we have an expectation that our digital games should move forward. I know I was bothered when the Wii U ended, the Switch came out, and there was no even a conversion path for games that were ported to the Switch year one. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe being one of them. I bought the DLC on the Wii U. I bought the game. It was digital. Why couldn't I have brought that over? Now, maybe you're saying that's unreasonable, and maybe it is, but that game is trapped on the Wii U, and my Wii U may not even work, right? So it may just be gone. It may just be money put into the game, gone forever. And I think at that point, there's no faith in the product anymore. There's no faith in buying the digital game anymore, and it's just a huge problem for me. It's one of the reasons Microsoft, I have been huge fans of the way that they've done it with Xbox. Yeah, not every game is backwards compatible, but a lot of my digital purchases have carried over, and nearly every digital purchase from the Xbox One to the Xbox Series S and X generation has carried over. And so I think that should be the case going forward. It's the same with PC games. 9 times out of 10, your Steam library will work if you upgrade your computer. There might be some wonky stuff you have to figure out. Yes, there might be some patches or some kind of specific driver thing. It gets a lot more complicated, but usually there's a way to make it work. So let's just hope Nintendo keeps the energy with back compat. I just don't see them making that move, but a lot of people are like, oh, they might not. I think they're just going for clicks here. I am more excited that this system could come out next year with a potential PS5 Pro and maybe something from Microsoft, but it's highly unlikely just given the way we're getting this news now for Nintendo and Sony, looks like they'll be launching new hardware next year as a refresh. Switch 2 will be the next gen. I'm really hoping the feature set's good. We could talk about that a little bit, but I'm just really hoping that, broadly, that the Switch 2 does what we expect it to do in regards to our current libraries, but brings enhanced performance and better performance for like newer games and stuff. Which there's no reason to assume it wouldn't do the second part, but the first part is still a question mark. So hopefully we get that cleared up soon. If they're planning on launching the second half of next year, they have to announce something at least by the end of this year or early 2024. They're going to want to lead up to it. They want to get people hyped. But Nintendo has given very short lead up times lately, with the exception for certain games like, Tears of the Kingdom. We had an announcement for it, and then it went dark for, a year or two? Was it 2019 when we first saw that game? But anyway, yeah, really pumped to see, what's coming from Nintendo. Backwards compatible would be awesome. I'd like to see enhanced performance for older games. Imagine on a newer system, Tears of the Kingdom or even Breath of the Wild running at 60 FPS. I just think Microsoft's doing it now with their back compat program. Nintendo could easily do the same thing. Microsoft would probably be happy to help them get to that point. Just being experts at virtualization and just everything that they do really well. Their relationship seems like it could lend to that. But who knows? Who knows where we could go there? Kirk said, Xbox underrated for just completely eliminating this issue for consumers. Facts. In PlayStation games are not guaranteed, may require $10, $20 upgrade, full rebuy. Facts. And you have to subscribe to get older games on Switch, PlayStation. You can buy them outright on Xbox, which I also appreciate. The one thing I will say I like about Switch Online and what makes it totally worth it is it's like Game Pass, but with like retro games. So they just add games, but they don't seem to take any away. And so you just have that library, and I don't have to rebuy Super Mario 3 for the 80,000th time because they finally emulated it for the current hardware. And I think the current packaging for the older games will just kind of stay where it is and move forward with performance and stuff as needed for newer hardware. But that's also a fair point, though. But yeah, all right, so that's like the biggest thing. Let's touch up on a couple of other things before we call it a day for game news. Activision misplaced its Transformers game, says Hasbro, with the recent Transformers movie. I don't think it did very well, but hey, there were a bunch of good games that came out on the 360. Microsoft has expressed interest in wanting to like re-release these games. Hasbro's on board. Activision can't find them. How do you lose this stuff? Well, it's really simple. You make tons of money and then only focus on Call of Duty every single year and ignore the rest of it. It's just very interesting that this happened. Hey, Broforce, it's been a while, man. How you doing? All right, I thought this was cool. This should have happened with the first game, but Mario and Rabbids, Sparks of Hope DLC 3, Rayman. The trailer's a little long. I'm not going to watch it. It's a little obnoxious. Let's just be real. But I thought Mario and Rabbids was a fun series. I didn't play the new one just because I didn't. The strategy genre, not my thing. Let's just be honest. I'm not great at it. But this looked cool, and Rayman really should have been in the first game. Let's just get that out of the way. It's weird that it took the third DLC for the sequel to finally have Rayman show up. But very cool. Cool to see. PlayStation 5 news. PS5 firmware beta update adds a long-awaited audio feature. Yeah, it finally supports Dolby Atmos, which a bunch of things support just out of the box. So that's cool. Some new accessibility features, some social features. I'm not big on the PS5 stuff yet because I don't have one, but I will be soon. I thought this was awesome. Support for larger M.2 SSDs. So if you upgrade the SSD slot, if you already have a drive in there, well, you can get up to 8 terabytes now, which means 8 terabytes are probably going to come down in price because everybody will be making them for PS5s. So that's awesome. All right, and then the final story, which is just a quick thing. I don't know how long this will last, but the PS5 and Xbox Series X are $50 off right now, which isn't a huge discount, but it is a discount, and it's something to be noted. Apparently, the PS5 deal is sold out. But hey, that's kind of cool. You'll probably see more deals like this. We'll probably see some hardware deals for the holiday season this year around Black Friday. And I just think, the stuff's been on the market long enough. You'll see bundling and discounts across the board. All right. Well, that does it for this week's game news. If you're watching on YouTube, let me know what you thought. What do you think about the Switch having backwards compatibility? Do you think it's unlikely or likely? Let me know in the comments. Be sure to leave a like on the video if you did. And don't forget to subscribe and help the channel grow. If you're watching on Twitch, we're about to play some Apex because that's what we're doing. Anyway, go and play video games now.